How are you?
I'm wonderful.
Yes, you are. In every sense of the word.
Well, thank you very much.
Chris told me, he said, Don, I wrote a book. I said, what? What you been doing? What's going on with you? Let me tell you a history. I moved to Houston in 1999. Do you remember the red cat on Congress, 9/11 Congress? Yeah. Baby, what? Okay. Worked there for 10 years, okay? 10 years. And every time Chris was on stage with that bass, he was so cool. He was so cool like that, you know? And I could never... What name did I used to call you all the time? I forgot. I would never call you Chris Black.
You did.
No, I know. And he was like, Donna, that's not my name. I'm like, really? But baby, that was the coldest black... You know, nobody plays the bass like you, number one. Nobody. And for those of you who knows how he plays, can we give him a round of applause? So, Chris, let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
Okay.
I didn't know you were sick.
Mm-hmm. I was.
So, what did you have? What was wrong?
At the end of the day, they diagnosed me with MS. But it was a process of things that happened before that, before it even got to that point.
What was the process?
Well, you know, as you were saying, I was playing the bass.
Mm-hmm.
And not only playing the bass, but a businessman too.
Mm-hmm.
So I was playing the bass guitar, I was traveling around the world. I had a school here, CBA School of Arts. So I was doing that, and I was running a summer program. So it was just a lot of things that I was doing. And in order for me to stay up a day, I would drink probably 4 Red Bulls a day.
Oh my gosh.
But that was just every day. So my typical day was school opened at 6. So I would be there. I would be there all day in between the different things that I was doing. And then after that, I would either go rehearse or have a gig or something. So I wouldn't get to sleep until maybe 3 or 4 in the morning.
Now, is this when you were still living in Houston, or had you moved to LA at the time?
No, I was in Houston.
Okay.
When all this was going on.
Okay.
So I was doing a lot. I was doing a lot. So one day, well, I went overseas. I went overseas with Les McCann. So I don't know if you know Les McCann.
Yeah.
So I was.
You clap on that one? Yes. Yes. Yes.
Great guy. So I went over. I had so much fun. Went to Dallas. We rehearsed. We went to Germany. We stayed over there. Had a lot of fun and playing. So I came back from Germany, and for whatever reason, I had been overseas all the time. But this particular time, I could not get back on schedule of the time. My body just would not adjust back to the United States.
And what time frame was that, Chris?
It flip-flopped the day. So in the daytime, my body thought it was night. So in the daytime, I was sleepy in the day. So it was hard for me to function because I was just sleeping. I didn't really know why. And then what I found out later, I was having some issues with my equilibrium. I didn't know that's what it was, but I was having issues with my equilibrium, and it was hard for me to kind of move. So I went to the school one morning. I was by myself, and there was a party the day before, so it was cake there. So I went, got a piece of cake. I ate the cake, and I passed out. Wow. So I passed out. No one was there but me. So I passed out, and I don't know how long I was passed out, but I came up, woke up on my own, and I called the director at that time and said, hey, get up here, I have to take myself to the doctor. So I drove myself, because I thought I was Mr. Invincible. I could do everything. I'm going to maintain everything that's going on. I'm going to maintain this school. I'm going to maintain me playing. I'm going to maintain my relationship.
Because you were the man.
Listen.
That's
what I was doing.
Yeah.
And to everyone else that was looking at me, I'm an even keel kind of guy. So if you seen me or met me, you didn't know I was sleepy. You didn't know I was tired. You just didn't know, because I'm always had the smile. That was just me, and that still is me. So at that point, she came to the school. I went to the doctor, and the doctor said, "Hey, your red and white blood cells are not the way they're supposed to be. It's almost as if it's like a common cold." I said, "Okay, just you listen to the doctors, whatever they say." So I said, "Okay." They didn't really give me any medicine. They just said, drink more water, make sure you're not dehydrated, all of that. So I went along my way. But at that point, things began to decline for me. I couldn't drive anymore. My equilibrium had got so bad.
At the point that you could not drive, how did you feel?
I was still trying to work. People would drive.
Because you gotta drive to get to where it is you need to go.
I had somebody driving me.
So nothing registered with you at that time where you couldn't drive anymore? Did something say, hey, wait a minute, I need to just slow it down a bit?
No, never. No, nothing. I still was doing what I knew to do, was just work hard and get it done. And that's what I did. And I didn't tell anybody around me if I was feeling any kind of way at all.
Hold it. You have a wife and you have children.
I wasn't married then.
Okay. So this was a while ago.
Yes.
How long are we talking?
This was 2001.
That all of this was happening.
All this was happening.
And I would see you on the stage still around that time.
I'm telling you.
I would see you on the stage around that time doing you.
Yes.
Playing the bass, smiling and grooving.
All of that. So it's one of the things I talk about in the book, because people function, and you have all these things on the inside of you that people never see. They never know. And they're functioning in a negative way that's really bad for their lives. And they never let anyone in so they can help them. Help them get better emotionally. Help them get better physically. But I fell into that category. That's where I was. That I was going to keep it to myself, and I was going to continue to work. So I talk about, you see people that they seem to be successful. They seem to have a lot of things.
I like how you say it. You said, did y'all hear that key word? They seem to be.
Seem to be. So then all of a sudden you hear a story, and the story says they killed themselves and killed their family. And what do you say? You say, man, it looked like they were doing all right.
They looked like they were just happy.
Right. But you did not know that for a while they were struggling to maintain their level of life. And something turned it to where it just was too much.
Chris.
Yes.
What was the turning point?
For me, I still went through that. I was going through that, and then all of a sudden, I went to the doctor, and I started not being able to, the equilibrium got worse, and I couldn't stay by myself anymore. I had to stay at someone's house, and I was just in the bed. And I started throwing up everything I would eat. I couldn't keep food down. I would throw up water. Couldn't keep food down, so I started losing weight, just losing. And so for some of you that know me, when I got here, I was a thick guy. I was. But it just started coming off. So I would go back to the doctor, and they say, well, we're not really sure what's going on, so we're going to send you back. So they sent me back home. That happened 3 times. The last time I passed out, the ambulance had to come get me. Instead of them taking me to the hospital, the ambulance had to come get me because, I couldn't walk. At that point, I couldn't walk. I couldn't walk at that point. Ambulance came and got me. Never will forget Fort Bend Hospital. So I'm laying in the bed in the hallway, and I'm just reflecting at that point, like, oh my God. So I had never been, until that point, I had never been in the hospital, ever in my life. Never been sick. Never. I was always the kid that was going to have 100% of his attendance. That was me. It didn't matter if I felt sick, I'm going. That's the way I've always been. So I kept that same kind of attitude and spirit. But at that point, I didn't have a choice. My body said, no, brother, you're not. Not today. You're not going to do that. So I'm laying in the hospital in this bed, and they take me to this room to do a CAT scan so they can kind of figure out what's going on. I tried to explain to the nurse and the doctor. I said, listen, movement makes my head spin and I throw up. That was happening before. I said, move. So, they was like, okay, all right. So they put me in the tube thing and tried to slide me in there, and I throw up. I throw up on them. I throw up on the thing they had me on. So I'm like, okay, now you get it. You get it. Movement, the slightest movement makes me spin, and I throw up. So they said, okay, we're gonna have to try it again, and we're gonna be a little more careful. So okay. So they tried it again, a little more careful. They pulled me out of there. He bring me in the room. He said, well, the CAT scan doesn't really give us anything that was wrong. He said, but let me see you touch your nose. So let me turn around so y'all can. He said, let me see you touch your nose. And this is what happened. I did this. At that point, I had no control over my limbs and my hands. No control. And I could not get out of the bed and walk. I didn't have any strength. I couldn't walk. So that was the start. So this was at Fort Bend Hospital. They put me in a room. I'm throwing up everything. So they try to bring a dietitian in and say, okay, we need to completely change. Nothing. We're not giving you any food, especially no season, no anything at all. So I had IV in both arms, and they would kind of do everything that way. So I'm throwing up everything. At this point, I'm throwing up bile because there's nothing in my stomach. So they give me one medicine. They gave me was called Phenergan. It's one. There was another medicine. I don't remember the name, but it's a medicine they give to cancer patients for their stomach. They were giving me that because of the throwing up. So after being there for 2 weeks, they said, we think you have an aneurysm. We think you have a stroke. I mean, they were just going through just the list because they no clue what was going on. So finally they said, well, you have a lesion in your brain. So we need to transfer you to Memorial Southwest today, and we're going to move you over for brain surgery in the morning.
What?
Yes. There were 2 musicians that were there, and they helped me get all of my stuff. They was there when they said it. They knew what was going on. So they helped me move all of my stuff to the next hospital. So you know how they do surgery real early in the morning. So this doctor comes in, probably, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, something like that. He said, well, listen, Mr. Black, I know you have a lesion in your brain, but at this point, we're not exactly sure about the lesion. We know it's there, but we're not exactly sure. So I'm not going to do brain surgery. We're going to try some other stuff.
Ooh, thank God.
I said, cool. But,
I'm going on this journey with him, and I'm like, wait a minute, I can't breathe right now.
But you know how you get tired of stuff and you just want an answer. Right. And you just go with whatever the answer is. Yeah. Doesn't matter to you if the answer is right or wrong. If it's right for you, you just take it. And that's what I did. I was okay. I didn't question it. I didn't say I believe something different. I just said, all right, cut my head, let's get it out. That's where I was at. I was tired. I was tired of throwing up. It hurt physically. It hurt.